So the first thing you should know about Richa Chadha is that she always speaks her mind. Remember this? This is the photo she put out on Twitter right after Maaran won 2 awards at the Cannes Film Festival last year. And the tweet read, for all those who advised me not to do low-budget arty films. Fab. I just love it. I saw an interview of yours, Richa, where you said that I'd rather be provocative than boring. Is that like a life mantra for you?
I find that, you know, especially here, people are always trying to place you somewhere just to make their own life simpler. That, oh, okay.
They're trying to label you.
Yeah, she's Nandita Das type, Smita Patil type, or even of late Anu Agarwal type, or something or the other. So I find that very annoying, and I do not want to be somebody who's predictable. I guess that's what I meant by being provocative rather than being predictable or boring.
Richa, my sense is that you've never had a problem being provocative. I think it comes naturally. So look what we dug up.
Oh my God! This is my Dev D audition.
That's your Dev D audition.
How did you get your hands on it?
हेलो 11 मिनट की वास्ते हाँ नहीं अभी कोई फोन थैंक यू हाय कल रात को बीच में ही सो गए थे नहीं मैं चंदा
How did you find it? I've never seen it myself. Oh my God.
We dug. It was really interesting
Yeah.
because what amazed me is that even in the beginning, you were not at all invested in this image of that wholesome Hindi film heroine. I mean, you were happy to do this, and you're really convincing. I mean, you ended up not doing Dev D and getting Gangs of Wasseypur,
Yeah.
and Kalki did this role.
Yeah.
But so for you, that was never a thing, that, you know, dancing around trees and.
No, she got the part. I didn't get it. She
Yeah.
must have been better in her audition. But I guess everybody grows up wanting to do that filmy sort of dancing around trees, which no one really does anymore. First, there are no trees left. Then there's, I mean, the cinema is changing. But I wouldn't say I didn't grow up wanting that. I did, but then along the way, because of how I was raised, my mother exposed me to, like, I think the first film I watched was a Shyam Benegal film with it was really hardcore. I forget right now, but so I had both kinds of exposure. So I mean, when I was growing up, I figured out that I would do either or, and I would not do either or. And now that I'm trying to do everything, but it's mostly leaning towards not the wholesome Hindi film heroine.
Yeah, wholesome is not a word we would associate with Richa.
No,
right?
I mean, I think it's time to be actually wholesome in the true sense of the word, and not be some kind of
Not in the reductive.
manufactured kind of entity, you know.
Yeah.
Like put together, assembled nicely, with like restrictions of sexuality and brain. I don't want to be like that.
But Richa, even when you started, I understand what you're saying, but were you ever sort of worried about an image, or you know, what's the right way to kind of enter?
You know, I was not at all afraid when I started, but I do have fears now because
Why?
because it's ridiculous. When I did Gangs of Wasseypur at that time, I was much younger, and right after the film released, all the parts I got were the same. Were basically, if it wasn't a UP housewife, it would be a Bihari housewife, and going between 45 to 50 years of age, which was at the time half of my age, and that's when the fear came into my mind, because I got a random call from a random casting director who hadn't even seen Gangs when we were still shooting. He knew what I looked like, but they called me to play something really ridiculous. Hrithik Roshan's mother in Agnipath.
No way.
Yeah, and I said, do you know what I look like? I'm just going to take a photo and send it to you. Don't do this to me. And they were like, नहीं पर हमने सुना है आप नवाज की मम्मी का रोल. I was like, oh my God. So that's when the fear came into me a little bit. Now I'm conscious. I mean, I'm experimenting again in Sarabjit. I have to age through the part. But then it's not just me, the story is going forward. So, you know, I'm trying to get as much fear out of my body as I can. But it's when you take a risk and you see the repercussions of it repeat, it gets really tough to fight again and again and try to convince people that, hey, I'm not this, I'm not just this, I'm more.
But Richa, in May you're showing us that you're more by doing something like Sarabjit and then doing something like Cabaret.
Yes.
I mean, that's like within, I think, 2 weeks of each other, these films were
1
released.
week.
1 week of each
Yeah.
other. So, Richa, I found Cabaret very intriguing. Tell me, what is the allure of a film like that for an actor like you? I mean, is it a chance to just dress up and have a good time? Is it the solo lead? What is it?
No, it wasn't all that at all. It wasn't the solo lead part or the dress up part. In fact, I think it was the daunting fear of having to do something so commercial that made me do it.
Really?
Yeah, because it's a big risk. For most of the people, so many people called me and said, why are you doing it? You know, there's going to be kissing. And I said, but there's kissing in Maaran. Like there's going to be songs and dances, and so all people have.
Did you say there's a song on a red horse?
Yes, there's a song on a red horse. There's a song.
What is going on there?
I think Pooja Bhatt is the producer of the film, and she's also the production designer. And her visual is always like she wants to leave an impact. So she has me swinging from a big disco ball that she got constructed, or like just chilling in a water bowl, a glass bowl full of water, and this red horse and several other crazy things like that.
But Richa, tell me, as somebody who's been very outspoken about these things, is a film like Cabaret then, is it empowering? Is it sort of taking hold of your sexuality, or is it just titillation?
I would think it's taking hold of my sexuality, because when I had to shoot the first song, I was really like nervous. I mean, I've been in photo shoots where I've been sent out by the photographer to go hear a good song and come back, because I've been so afraid, so trying to cover up, never giving the right, looking almost petrified. And this has actually happened even when we were shooting the first song. They were like, you know, you're getting lost, the backup dancers are overpowering you, you're not.
Because it's also about attitude, right?
It is entirely about attitude. It's about it's how you feel. It's really not how you look, which is why we say about actors that, you know, the smile doesn't reach her eyes, or the lyrics don't make any sense, she's just mouthing the words, things like that. It's really hard.
You said somewhere, Richa, that I, like Devi, I would also take on this sort of horrible misogynistic system, establishment that there is. But just to apply that quote to Bollywood, can you really take on the system and still get work, or are things changing?
A, I think things are changing, and B, I believe if you can't break the rules, just circumnavigate them and find your own way.
What do you mean?
What I mean is, when it's fairly misogynistic to tell somebody at 23, 24, when Gangs came out, that, you know, your career is done.
They told you that?
Yes, I really believed it. For a good 6 months, I was petrified. Whoever was watching the film and saying, you were very good, I used to only ask them, how old am I looking? And then Anurag told me they had to age me more because I was standing next to Nawaz and it's, you know, CG, and he told me it cost him extra 8 lakhs, and he was complaining anyway. But I'm just saying that I really did believe that my career is going to end after Gangs, because I'm like, okay.
You're the mom now.
Not just the mom, grandmom in the first freaking big break sort of thing. And what was I thinking? And lots of people said, you know, what is this, no makeup and do choti and gali and bihari, and, you know, why not something fun on like the Alps and all. So I really did believe for a long time that it was not going to happen. But then I thought, and I like consistently tried to keep changing what I did, and I still try. So I'm saying that that's my way of not being, if I can't break in or break the rule, I'll have to manage around it.
Is it sort of frustrating on a daily level, or not really?
I mean, I'm used to it now, but it used to be very frustrating on a daily level. I've actually written a short film about it called The Life of an Art House Pin-Up, which I hope to make.
That's
sometime.
a great title, The Life
Yes.
of an Art House Pin-Up.
Because for a while before Fukre released, any script to do with depressed, handicapped, amputated leg, brain hemorrhage, aborted fetus, feticide, molestation, rape victim, anything to do with these dark, depressing, completely crazy things came my anybody in north of like between
Bandra?
Juhu and Andheri or Goregaon, let me stretch that. And I was like, hey, I'm not this twisted person, and I'm actually a really happy, sorted girl, you know, why don't you? And they were like, yeah, but you know, or things like I told you that people would come up to me and say things like, you know, इसमें बहुत गाली है, आपको बहुत मजा आएगा. And these kind of things happen to me routinely. So that was very frustrating. And then I
They
consciously
thought you're just somebody who likes to give galis.
yes, somebody who likes to give gali, somebody who doesn't care how she looks, somebody who's bindas, or another word I hate, bold.
Bold,
Yes,
yes, the
bold.
bold Richa.
The bold scenes. So it's very funny for me, because essentially they are saying you are doing what is not expected of a woman or of a woman on screen. That's what you're essentially saying, and I don't buy that.
You also talked about people who are technically your competition, and you know what, I was looking at your Twitter feed, and what I found very interesting also was how genuinely supportive you were of Radhika Apte's winning a prize at
Yeah.
Tribeca, or Kalki's new
Trailer,
film Waiting
yeah.
trailer.
Yeah.
Now, so I felt like, is there like a genuine sort of camaraderie among all of you?
See, definitely I can speak between of Radhika and Kalki, not just because they are in the same bracket, but because they are friends also. I can genuinely say that there is definite camaraderie, and we don't see each other as competition, even though we often are competing for the
Right,
same
you
parts.
would be, no?
Yeah. I mean, I often see a slash, or you know, we all have fingerprints on the script when it's passed on to each other, and I'm okay with that. But I truly believe that I feel like it's a very scarcity mentality thing to do, to keep pulling somebody down, and I've learned the hard way that it doesn't apply to all actresses. But having said that, I feel like you should promote the category and not the product.
What do you mean?
I'm a product and us is a category. So promote the category. It's good if more of us get more work. It's good that Swara is doing Nil Bate Sannata and even playing a mother to a 15-year-old, or I don't know how, and she's being appreciated for it. It's good to promote the category, and I feel like I see a lot more camaraderie among the females than with the men. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't
But
think
so
I am.
personal insecurities and all of that don't get in
Not
the way.
in this space. I have encountered, I'll tell you when the camera's off, what other bitchy stuff goes on. That's very difficult for me because I don't come from a space like that. I just feel like there's so many different flowers in the garden, and each one is unique, and it has to be that. And funnily, I've had male actors also getting insecure of me sometimes, and I find that very difficult.
Really?
because-
Like
yeah.
what happens? What do they say?
It's not what do they say.
Behavior.
It's like you know, this is your light. I'll just slyly try to cut it, and I'll think this one is dumb, so she won't even notice that now there's a patch of darkness on her face. Or, this actually happened to
That's
me
so
in a film.
immature.
I don't look at the monitor, and I had a well-wisher in the AD team who came and told me, he said, "Ma'am, आपकी तो शक्ल ही नहीं दिख रही है. थोड़ा light तो ले लो." And then I realized that like the hero with me constantly turning me around and saying, "अच्छा सुनो," and you know, I was doing a pivot, and I was like, "Oh, okay." Then I didn't say anything to him, but I just managed to give a great take, and at the end of the take, I emerged in full lightness like the moon.
You've always been, again, unwilling to mince your words with that.
Yeah, but what do you do?
Have you ever thought that नहीं यार नहीं बोलते मतलब क्या ज़रूरत है? I'm just stirring up the hornet nest.
Not really, because I'm not Shah Rukh Khan. People are not going to find excuses to target me. I'm not Amir Khan. But what I find really irritating is anybody on Twitter with an egg for a face can say whatever the hell they want
And
to
they
and
do.
get away with it. And abuse people, give rape threats out, and just be horribly misogynistic, and the minute you even say idiot, you get labeled for being irresponsible, and celebrities are not supposed to have this kind of so
How do you deal? Because you know, I get sometimes with reviews. I mean, just vicious abuse, and sometimes, I mean, at one point, it did get me down. Does that ever happen to you?
yeah, I think it does get me down once in a while, but I take it in my stride. I feel like I mean, you have to have the courage to stand up for what you say also. You can't just say something and then
Run back, yeah.
run and hide from it. I mean, you have to have the courage to stand up for who you're standing up for, and then not run away from it. You know, I tried this recently, but you must try it. There's a person who really abused me on Twitter three days ago about something I don't even remember, completely inconsequential. I mean, has no relevance, nothing. But said something and being really abusive and speaking about like body parts and all that. So I was like, okay, let's see. Then I was like, and I tweeted at him saying, hey, keeping it very classy.
I saw that.
Let's show him love. And the person ran away and deleted their tweet. So basically, these people hurling abuses at you, ladies and gentlemen, on Twitter or any other social media place are cowards. They don't have the courage to get out there and say what they want in public, so they do it on the internet, which makes everybody relevant. And I think it's time to take them on. Yes, you ignore the trolls if they're, but if it gets to you, then don't ignore your feelings also. Just take them on because they are really cowards.
I saw that. Keeping it classy.
Yeah,
I
and
saw that
got
tweet.
so much support for it. It was amazing.
Yeah. So what do you want to be now? What's the next position?
I just wanna be me. Yeah.
Which is a happy vegan.
Happy vegan person. Yes.
You're a very vocal vegan, aren't you?
Yeah. But then I took a stance against the beef ban.
Yes.
Oh my God. The problem is not Twitter or Facebook or anything. The problem is the lack of being able to tolerate any opinion other than yourself. There are so many people I follow on Twitter or other places who I do not even like or do not agree with. But then I want to know what they think. I want to know how their brain operates, and I give them that much respect. That, hey, you can disagree with me, because you'll never find people who 100% agree with you, and it shouldn't be like that. So, I mean, it's just that lack of ke, kaise bola tune? It's like that.
It's also got to do with being a woman, isn't it?
I think so. I think it's more for women, I feel like. But you take on the bullies, I think. A strong woman, nothing can stand in her path, really, if you really come down to it. So I always tell people that I can be Devi also, and I can also be Bholi Punjaban. So you take your pick.
Don't mess with her.
Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time telling people that I'm actually very kind, that I'm vegan because of cruelty reasons, that I try not to use leather, I try to buy even makeup that is not used on animals or medicines and things like that, but they just don't buy it.
You're just a badass.
Badass. Love saying that so much. 4 बार ही बोल दिया अभी तक. Ass on camera.
On that happy note, Richa, thank you.
Thank you. It was one of the most fun, yeah.
It's always fun talking to you.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. If you like this interview, please hit the button below and subscribe to Film Companion.